last few weeks have been insane. My mum died and I bought a house for cash. Here's how that happened.
Let's start at the beginning. When I created this channel back in August 2020 in response to the pandemic leaving me with no work and a lot of spare time, I had huge dreams of becoming mega successful, moving to the countryside and having room to expand the enclosure so I could take in more rescue ferrets. Don't get me wrong, I love this garden and the ferret haven I've built with the help of many friends and family. But the tiered garden offers no room for expansion, and the lawn provides a limited space for setting up challenges and races. As well as this, my stepmother had recently been diagnosed with cancer. My father and her live up in Scotland, which is a long way away from me and my brothers. So I decided to register with a couple of estate agents in Scotland to keep an eye out for the perfect property coming onto the market. The next few months went by in a blur of pandemic lockdowns and troubleshooting network problems, not to mention learning how to care for ferrets for the first time under the watchful gaze of a growing online audience. Then on New Year's Eve 2020, disaster struck. At 7 p.m, my mum was rushed into hospital, where she spent the night on a trolley bed in accident and emergency, completely alone because of COVID restrictions, in the madness that is any hospital emergency room on a night like that. She was quickly diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer and went through several operations and a dose of COVID she contracted while on the critical care ward. She almost died several times, and the only way her husband could visit was by standing in a flower bed outside the ward window in the pouring rain. But she's a fighter. She made it through that initial trauma and continued to kick the ass of life in a quite remarkable way. Meanwhile, I was fighting my own battles with the YouTube algorithm, learning my craft, connecting with you, building an audience that proved this was going to be something I could make a living out of. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, as my mum was progressing into the really ugly phase of cancer, and I was trying to travel the 2.5 hours down to Kent as often as possible to be with her and help with the care, something popped into my email inbox. The details of a newly listed house. And not just any house. It was the house. A sweet bungalow with the perfect garden to move a growing ferret empire into, and the most amazing view with a river running right across the bottom of the plot. The following days were a blur of some of the most extreme emotions I've ever felt. On the one hand, Mum was dying, a horrible, desperate death. But in concert with this, I was getting ready to make the next big leap into the unknown. With all this going on the past few weeks, I've barely even logged on to YouTube, as well as rushing from one deadline to the next, engaging solicitors, organising my finances, helping clear out Mum's belongings, the funeral, getting this house cleared and on the market. It's been a lot, and I really struggled with how to tell the story here. I wanted to keep you informed because you're a huge reason why this is all possible, and I can't wait to share the next part of FerretTube TV's adventure with you. But pairing such a tragedy with an event filled with such hope and potential, well, let's just say, it's a lot to get your head around.
So, that's where we're up to so far. It's a strange old story, I know, and who knows where it's going to end. But one thing I do know for sure, it's going to be full of floof.